Are you a human being? Are you also a Browns fan? Well, if you said yes to both of those things, then there's a good chance you're probably a little tired of our local Cleveland Brown sports media. Same old thing, day after day, night after night. It's time to hang the cleats up. It's time to pass the torch. If you're looking for something fun, something fresh, something where four people literally smack themselves in the face over and over with hot take after hot take, then my boys at Down with the Browns is where you want to be. It's just good for your soul. Available on Apple Podcast, YouTube, and Twitter. Getting down with the Browns.
And welcome back to another episode of Dine with the Browns, baby. You're here with your host, Christian, Manny Maxwell, Matty G, and Mac the Buffalo.
Free Matty G from the accusations.
All right. Do you guys just want to get straight into the court case?
I just want to really quickly. I think that we obviously we had some horrible news on the football field on the Monday Night Football game with the Bengals and the Bills. Cornerback Damar Hamlin obviously went down, and it was tragic for a couple of days. It was very, very tragic. But I just want to say prayers out to Damar Hamlin. He is getting better. Breaking news today. He is getting better. I think that he got feeling in his fingers and movement in his toes as well. That was reported by Adam Scheffner. So just a great news all around. Great story that we're hearing. A comeback story, hopefully. And I think that that's exactly what's going to happen in this situation. So shout out to Damar Hamlin, and shout out also to prayers to T. Higgins as well, because I know that he's been taking some heat unnecessarily from
it truly was a freak accident. Nothing that like it that I've ever seen. There's a lot of theories going around because doctors are trying to figure this out. One that I was listening to was saying that it wasn't necessarily the force behind it, but it's just where he hit it in his in his heart rhythm, so to speak. And what was also scary is that now, shout out to, the Bills medical staff, Cincinnati for what they're doing. But it was very scary for how long that he was laying there. Luckily he was brought back to life, but at that point your body is, deprived so much of blood and oxygen to where, you need help breathing. And it's pretty scary to see some guy, and they were pulling up interviews, right, of this guy, a couple months ago. He just got his chance this year on the football field, to see him up and around and making plays, and then all of a sudden, with the with a tube in him in the hospital. But prayers out to his family, and definitely prayers out to T. Higgins, because it's a freak accident. These guys play a very violent game. So
absolutely.
Big shout out to Josh Allen today. I don't know if you guys saw his press conference where he kind of went at some of the critics of T. Higgins on the field of T. Higgins. A lot of people were trying to take shots and hey, it's his fault. And I thought it was pretty awesome of Josh Allen to come out and be this is not T. Higgins' fault. That was a routine tackle. We've all seen that whole scenario 100 times. Who would have ever thought that would have turned into what it did? That's not T. Higgins' fault. He was just playing the game. He was doing what he was paid to do. But prayers up to Damar Hamlin. And I don't. And if you weren't happy to read that update today, you're not human. I can't think.
Absolutely.
It was awesome to hear how he's doing better. How he can't talk yet, but he's still communicating with doctors, and he's writing out fully formed thoughts. Which I'll be honest and say I think is somewhat of a minor miracle. After 3 minutes with no oxygen, your brain sustains a pretty significant damage. Damar was under the weather, no heartbeat, no pulse for 9. So that's pretty miraculous that he was even able to have the skills and brain ability to even write, because that's a lot of times that's one of the first things your body forgets how to do is to handwrite and to have those thoughts. That's awesome. So great comeback.
Awesome news. It is so great to hear that he's doing well. So, I don't know if you have anything to say on that, Christian, but then we could totally go.
Yeah, God was definitely watching over him after. I mean, just for the freak incident to happen, and then the way he's recovering, God's definitely had his hand on him.
Absolutely. So with that being said, we're gonna get into it. Hamlin's doing very much better, and honestly, we love to hear it. I do. Obviously, we have something on the docket tonight. So we have to address while we have Matty G for a moment here today, because Matty G is going to make an early exit. I think it's important. I don't know if do you guys want to do what Buffalo heard first? Do you want to do that?
I can do it.
I think we're going to start off with what the Buffalo heard. Get people in a good mood, because get the people what they want. I know you guys hear that sound. That is a stampede, baby.
It's what the Buffalo heard.
What the Buffalo heard, baby.
Oh, man, you set yourself up, buddy. Friendly reminder, Browns fans, the East runs through Cleveland, and the Boston Celtics are frauds who pronounce their name wrong. This is back with what the Buffalo heard.
Here we go.
Happy New Year's, Browns fans. The team has decided to make their New Year's resolution to not make anyone sad this year. And so far, they did just that, beating the Washington Commanders 24-10. This game surprised a lot of fans due to the fact that Browns were down 7-3 at half. Coach Kevin Stefanski told media in a presser today, "We tried a new tactic going into the third quarter called adjustments. Not sure if we'll do it again this week. We'll see." In honor of Steelers Week, Cleveland Mayor Justin Bibb released a questionnaire asking the locals to name things uglier than Pittsburgh sports fans. The top 5 answers in order from 5th to 1st are as follows. Number 5, people who are doing dry January and feel the need to tell everyone about it. Number 4, women who claim tequila as their favorite alcoholic beverage. Number 3, hairless cats. Number 2, people who own ferrets. And number 1, guys who wear pit vipers. Lastly, Browns legendary left tackle Joe Thomas was officially announced as a finalist for the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Reports in Berea asked Browns owner Jimmy Haslam if he did anything special for the 6-time All-Pro. He responded with, "We got Joe a teddy bear and a card that said, 'Sorry we wasted your career.'" This is Mac with what the Buffalo heard.
On point as always.
So on that number 1 spot, this is all I've got to say with that. So we'll just continue on. With
Kick him out. Kick him out.
He's gone.
Kick
Get him out of here.
First and foremost,
thank you, Jeff.
He stands with Matty G, and also, but also says Bam Max, so that's important. That's important.
That makes no sense because I understand that I am Tim Misney's paralegal, but I'm also here to give non-paid legal advice to Matty G and get him through this to beat the charges.
So if you guys haven't heard, we're going to have us a little court case live on Down with the Browns. The first one, Down with the Browns history. We've got Matty G going against Manny Maxwell, who's got a good case. We've got Mac defending him. So, all righty.
It's back, baby. Let's go.
So, Manny, can you bring us what the charges are that are being brought to the table against Matty G?
I'm gonna bring the charges out. I'm gonna bring the charges out first and foremost. I'm gonna bring the charges against Matty G and Mac too. Mac is an accomplice as well. He tried to dress for it, but it's a failure. It's a failure because I see the top button isn't buttoned. So unfortunately, that's not going to give you any points here in the courtroom. So the charges are Matty G blaspheming against Kevin Stefanski's name. Blasphemy. Just diabolical talk against Coach Stefanski and his coaching ability when I've told you over and over again how great of a coach he is. But you don't want to believe it. You don't want to believe it. Lamar Maxwell's back, yes. Next, Matty G lies lies statistically against Kevin Stefanski, also bending the truth, some of the statistics that you bring out, and finally colluding with Mac the Buffalo to bring down Kevin Stefanski. This is a two-party job now. So I want you both to explain yourselves in the final trial before Pittsburgh week. Because you guys saw how Deshaun Watson had a fantastic game versus the Commanders, and you guys were silent on Twitter. So I want to hear what you have to say before I call out these Kevin Stefanski haters.
Well, I would like to say first, that was my opening defense. I was driving during the game on Sunday. I
wasn't even watching.
I was listening to the radio. I got to listen to Jimmy D, and Z. I got to listen to them. Yeah, I couldn't. Yeah, do you want me to risk other people's lives when I'm driving to tweet Manny? That's real professional of you. I'm sure the Bar Association would love to hear that their top prosecutor is suggesting that people text and drive. One of the leading auto accident killers. I mean, I don't know. Like, Your Honor, I don't know if you can listen to this guy.
Interesting. That's all. Mac, do you have anything to also say to defend yourself for these collusion?
Whoa, Manny. Mac has the floor. You're interrupting.
Yeah. So apologies, Mac. Apologies.
So I do want to let you guys know that there was a story that just broke about.
Yeah, we're gonna get to that.
Clowney. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Absolutely.
Just
we absolutely.
Wow. I didn't go knocking on doors down Avenue for 12 hours, beating blocks on old ladies, for into people's cars, parking lot. Okay. I make people pay. And I'm going to make you pay for roping me into this collusion. We simply wanted better. Is it illegal to want better? And you know what the crazy thing about it is? I'm still right. Because what did Kevin Stefanski do after the second half? He changed up his game plan. He did the run a little bit more. And he allowed Deshaun Watson to use his legs. Does that give me complete hope for the future? Absolutely not. But I think it's enough to keep him. I just wanted better. And so did my client, which technically he's not my client. He's not paying me. I'm a paralegal. But, Your Honor, who are you going to believe? Okay. Some guy that mispronounces a basketball team and wears an apron and his great aunt's wig inside of a courtroom? Or are you going to believe the guy that makes them pay? Stick that up your pipe and smoke it.
So your case just went out the window right there. Vaping in a courtroom. Okay. Vaping in a courtroom. Okay. You're up here. Okay. What is your final defense here, Manny? What do you got to say to rebuttal?
First and foremost, shout out to Drew. Got my Down with the Browns mug. I think it was the mug today. It was very nice. Brought after a horrible week. Listen, you're very, very welcome, Andrew. Also a great fan of the show. Okay, so it's time. I have had a compiled list here of all the Kevin Stefanski haters on Twitter. After a 3-touchdown performance by Deshaun Watson, his best performance as a Cleveland Brown, all of a sudden these Kevin Stefanski haters are quiet. All of a sudden, they're quiet. Okay,
are you going like? Are you trying to get other people?
As well. That's why I have the apron. That's why I have the apron to cook them all up at once. Because I can do that.
What does that have to do with this court case?
So this is just kangaroo court.
Absolutely. Listen. This is my last defense, and since I already won, Kevin Stefanski's going to be back.
Hold up. The judge has not slammed the hammer. Okay, this is still an active case.
It's a gavel, Christian.
It don't matter.
It's a hammer.
I'm Judge Christian. Sir, I want to hear it, man.
Justice.
Listen.
It's going to leave you finger licking good, baby. Let's hear it. Let's go.
Here we go. At Dog Pound Sound is one of them. One of the people on here. At JL No Cap, his which is very ironic because his username is in all caps, that's what he's doing with this Kevin Stefanski hate is capping, so it says no cap, but that's interesting. At Zombie Mind 67 87 88, clearly spam. At NJ Cleve Nick 80 NG Cleve 85, he's like, oh, we're taking a victory lap now with Kevin Stefanski is 7-9. First and foremost, is anybody taking a victory lap? All right, okay, you were there with 0-16 and 1-15 in the victory lap. This is much better than what you've seen in the past, and it's going to be much better in the future, Nick. All right. So at DEG_4, at BT Campbell 83, Austino on Twitter as well has a lot to say, but you know what? He gets a pass because he's my boy. He says he's on the fence with Kevin Stefanski, so I'm not going to bring him into this. Buckeye Greg at Klecky at JC. JC's another one. JC says he's on the fence. JC. Some people have actually DM'd me and said JC is also one of the people who hate Kevin Stefanski. What's up, Josh? What's up? How we doing? I got a couple more names to read here. At Jeff Dubs, JX at Jeff. Jeff, you're one of the Kevin Stefanski people on here. You're one of the fire Kevin Stefanski people, and you better not read my name. I'm just reading your name right now because it's finally time. It's important. It's important for you to understand this because people are ungrateful of Kevin Stefanski. We're just so ungrateful, and I'm just sick and tired of hearing it. And then we have one guy here it is, at SPT Lewis says to me, 2 straight losing seasons with all that talent. Losing season, is that what you want to focus on? You want to focus on the trash that was under center? The short last year?
Hold up. Hey, calm it down, boys. Listen, I just want to know, how does this affect Matty G? Because we are prosecuting Matty G. How do all of these people factor in?
Do you want to know why? Because just like Young Thug and YSL right now, it's a group effort, okay? There's a lot of people in this collusion right now, and Matty G and Matt are the leaders of this hatred against Kevin Stefanski.
He's painting the waters of the Cuyahoga River.
People just, have you ever heard of a Coach of the Year, previous Coach of the Year, just get fired after the second season of just winning that award?
Matt Nagy.
Yeah, Matt Nagy.
But here's the thing. Matt Nagy wasn't given Deshaun Watson, wasn't given an all-star, all-world type of quarterback and said, hey, let's see what we're going to do. Kevin Stefanski finally gets that, and all of a sudden people want to fire him. Fire him after a fantastic game versus the Commanders, which, by the way, this is my last point, and now I'm going to digress because we want to start speaking facts. Were the Commanders in the playoff hunt last week?
Yes.
Yes or no? Yes, they were. They had a 50% chance of making the playoffs. Guess who was a top 5 defense that we played last week? Washington Commanders. So a top 5 defense in the playoff hunt. All they had to do was win. And Deshaun Watson and Kevin Stefanski go out there and throw 3 touchdown passes. You don't want to talk about that. Nobody wants to talk about that. And guess what? What happens this weekend? I don't want to take up too much of Matty G's time.
Order in the court. Mac, you got the floor. Let's hear it. This is the final. The decision will be made.
Okay, so you want to talk about an amazing job by the Browns offense. When the correct plays were called, of course. I thought the offense did very well coming out of the second half. They definitely, Deshaun Watson made a lot of plays with his legs and threw some pretty good out and corner routes as well. But if we're going to be honest with this defense, we need to talk about how the fact that Carson Wentz gave them that game. And it's weird. Scientists will tell you that ducks fly south in the winter. Well, I saw 3 of them in Washington on Sunday.
That's good. That's a good one. The prosecution likes that, actually.
So,
listen, but here's the thing. But again, you look at how the offense, I'm trying to focus on what the offense did with their chances, because previously, I recall a Browns offense getting 4 interceptions on Lamar Jackson last year and couldn't do diddly squat. So I don't care what the defense does to the opponent. Can I finish, Matty G? Can I finish, Matty G? Because I don't care what the offense does. I don't care what the offense does against our defense. I care about what our offense is doing against that defense, because that's what we're talking about here. We're talking about Kevin Stefanski. We're not talking about Joe Woods. If you want to save Joe Woods' job, we can do that on another episode. But I don't want to talk about Joe Woods.
All right.
31 out of 32 head coaches do not take Nick Chubb off the field on third downs and in goal line. That's my closing argument.
A team that runs it up on a top 5 defense does.
Matty G, do you have any final words before the judge gives his final say?
I'm innocent. It's clear that this is a conspiracy against me, a conspiracy against the deep state. It's been this way for a long time. I'm innocent. I'm a good man. I don't deserve this. I'm innocent of these charges. Please, members of the jury, see the truth. See this fraud. How can you trust a man who wears a toupee and an apron to a courtroom?
This is my real hair.
No, it's not. I've seen you with your real hair. It's not that.
Hair?
Your hair is the equivalent of Kevin Stefanski's second half adjustments most of the season. Not existent.
All righty. So, I've talked with the jury, and we've came up with an assessment on this case. Matty G is guilty of these crimes, and he will be suspended from Down with the Browns up to 2 months with parole, and he has to clean Kevin Stefanski's car weekly, change the battery in all the bikes around the city of Cleveland, scrape gum off of all the rails in all of Ohio.
Scrape it, Matty G. Get out of here.
And he has to wash his water buffalo right next to him with the water hose.
I can shower myself. Granted, I'm a paralegal. I wasn't even paid for this, but to go out like
get
this,
these
such a kangaroo court, it's
just like the
gross.
Celtics.
Careful.
Mac, you're
Celtics.
not won.
Celtics.
The Celtics, whatever they're called, you've not won yet in this court. So, all right. So Matty G is officially suspended up to 2 months with parole. So this is his last episode for 2 months. You heard it first.
Get out of here, Matty G. But in all seriousness, Matty G has some things to take care of at work. It's going to be a very busy season, so he's going to be taking a little hiatus, which is fantastic because now I don't have to waste so much Febreze on his horrible takes, and I don't have to get food poisoning from Febreze. I don't know how you get food poisoning from Febreze, but it's been so much fun. Matty G, we can't wait to hang out with you again, and you'll be making some appearances when you're free.
I want one last word before he leaves.
Okay, yes, please.
Matty G,
please.
I really appreciate you being here.
For sure.
You're the only guy here constantly that has realistic takes and doesn't have his complete head up his ass. I really appreciate you having here. Sorry, getting teared up. It's getting pretty emotional in here. But I know the minute that you leave, I'm going to get tag teamed constantly. Anytime that I say something pessimistic.
Oh yeah, it's getting crazy.
Yeah,
It's getting crazy. We're gonna be holding Matt
just like the
accountable.
Celtics in Cleveland. You're getting out of here, boy. No, I'm kidding. I'm just kidding. Love you, Matty G.
Any final words,
goes
Matty
well.
G? Any final
I'll
words?
see you guys in a few months. It's been fun. I will make some surprise appearances. KFC and I have already talked about a couple. Unfortunately, like Jeff says, got to make money for the honeys. Got a lot going on. So
Money Menzel mentality.
if you guys need me, I'll be. I got a lot of gum, obviously, to scrape off some benches. So, yeah.
Let's go.
All right.
Man.
Peace, everybody.
Hey, peace out, Matty G.
Yeah.
Matty G, peace out.
Love that guy.
That is so awesome. Everyone, Matty G's will be on some leave. He has a lot to take care of at work. And we're just so lucky to have Matty G, and we look forward to spending some time with him soon. Christian, about us
You
to
know
spend
what,
back
Brandon?
next year after
Go
that will
home.
come.
We've already banned him like 10 times. He's like a bad rash. He just keeps coming back.
He literally keeps coming back. Literally,
You can get ointment for the inflammation, but
I'll just suspend you just for saying ointment on the
bro.
pod. Like, who says ointment?
Ointment. Listen, so what we're gonna do? Let's talk about that crazy.
The Clowny.
Yeah, let's talk about that crazy
Here,
Clowny news.
I've got it screenshotted. I'll read it.
Please. Yeah,
so
please
breaking
read it out.
Browns defensive end Jadeveon Clowney tells Cleveland.com that there's a 95% chance he won't be back in Cleveland next year. Clowney said he wants to go somewhere where he feels valued. He'll be a free agent this offseason. From the article at Cleveland.com, the root of his unhappiness, which has lingered throughout the season, is he feels that he has been left out and the Browns have not been giving him favorable matchups at various points throughout the season and put Myles Garrett on lesser offensive linemen instead to showcase their star defensive end.
All right, so first and foremost, I want initial reactions to that, and you could be honest. You could be completely honest with an overreaction or whatever. Is this a big deal, or is this not a big deal at all? Because he didn't say. You know how some people who know they're gone say like 99%. He said 95. Is there anything to look into that?
95 because Myles Garrett's number is 95, if that's my best guess.
Oh.
Now, Jadeveon Clowney, you're a good run defender, but you got 10 pressures and 2.5 sacks this season. Deion Jones is beating you out, and he came through halfway. You can barely stay healthy, and the only reason why you produced last year is because you had interior pressure and you didn't have to work back to the quarterback in your pass rush. I don't know how many times I've seen this season where Jadeveon Clowney just flies upfield in a pass rush and quarterback breaks pocket. It's there. There's a reason why his production has dipped, and it's been between two things: health, and he can't beat a guy one-on-one unless it's blowing past him. He's just not a refined pass rusher like that. They got him to be more of a run defender, and it worked a lot last year because you had guys like Malik McDowell who's taking a guard 6 yards into the backfield. You don't have to worry about a quarterback stepping up. I look at it this way. Jadeveon Clowney, I don't know if you got your calculator out, buddy. The Browns weren't going to be able to pay you next year anyway. So, you could have actually saved yourself the head case trouble, and you would have been an easier pickup in free agency. Now you kind of you really want to do that. You want to go against Myles Garrett right now. So other pass rushers are going to be looking at you, and they're saying, like this guy is a Robin, but he thinks he's a Batman.
Do you think
he shot himself in the foot here, and it's his own fault. If he was more refined as a pass rusher, if he kind of had anything more than like a quick one move at the line of scrimmage or a bull rush, he wouldn't be in this position.
Disturbed Marine said on Twitter in the comments, he said, would have expected much more with Myles on the other side. Underperformed for sure. I completely agree. I do believe that Jadeveon Clowney underperformed. Andrew brings up also another good point, saying that a new defensive coordinator is the only way that he's back. Also, he said he wanted to play with Watson. He still wants to play with Watson. So I think he might be back if there's a new defensive coordinator. Do you guys think that that's the remedy for this situation? Because again,
listen, he wasn't coming back anyways, man.
Yeah,
bro.
We want to take the medicine at this point?
Okay, you've brought him in for 2 years. You saw him what he did last year, and he played pretty well last year on the other side of Myles Garrett.
He did. He had a good year last year.
Like we were all begging for him to come back this year, and we've not even got half the production he had last year. Not even half.
That's true. Jeff says underperforming defensive end who makes $12 million a year speaks out versus the team. ? Come on, man. That's a good point. But here's the thing. I think I think, what if he takes, now this is the last person you would possibly think about saying this, but what if he takes less money to play a full season with Watson, which, by the way, if we lose to Pittsburgh Sunday, which we will highlight that game very shortly here, if we lose to Pittsburgh on Sunday, we'll have the worst record in the division, which means we have the easiest schedule next year, and we all know what the easiest schedule can get you, like Baltimore and the Ravens right now.
No, like, listen, I hope they go a different direction. I don't see him coming back. He's not taking a pay cut to come back. I would.
And he can't beat guys one-on-one in pass rush. You need that. It's more about taking care of Miles right now. That's the thing. Jadeveon Clowney, like, forget you, dude. Don't let the door hit you on the way out.
Yeah, like, I would rather the Browns
Miles help. And
I would rather the Browns go out and get Yannick Ngakoue. Like, I want to see that.
It's going to cost the same, and you're going to get a better player.
But
a younger player too.
There's two questions I have for you. One is a Drew's question right now. Do you think that he even makes the trip to Pittsburgh? That's number one. And then number two, I want both of you to answer this. And number two, do you blame some of this year's downfall of Jadeveon Clowney on the interior defensive line a little bit, or is it just solely Jadeveon Clowney? Because that interior line was bad.
Yeah, the interior was pretty bad. I'm not going to lie. But, there's been times it just looks like he's given up on plays. And I think that just comes – I'm not going to say he doesn't have a good mentality. But, like, the Baltimore game, that was kind of when I was kind of done with Clowney's because, like, it felt like he just kind of gave up. I know he apparently got hurt. But, like, I didn't really see where he had gotten hurt,
Right. I do want to shout out to Connor 216. He just joined. First and foremost, you're a Kevin Stefanski hater, and you can get out of here as well. You can kick rocks. But so I just gotta address the elephant in the room. Any Kevin Stefanski haters that are joining can all kick rocks. But listen, but here's the thing. Again, Mac, I want to get your opinion on this because does that interior defensive line being horrible have a little bit to do with Jadeveon Clowney? Is his performance this year? That's just a question. And also, does he even make the trip to Pittsburgh on Sunday or no?
So first off, if you want to win, he has to be there because what's behind him is awful. Chase Winovich, congrats on the sack, buddy, but that's just because Carson Wentz is going to hold the ball for 6 seconds.
That's true.
That's true.
Kenny Pickett's going to zip it with them little hands.
No, I'm not worried about that. I'm worried about what have I been preaching for the past several weeks? Defensive ends that don't know how to contain and don't know how to line up in run gaps or line up and, have gap integrity in their run fits. It's, you know what I mean? Because behind him, it's terrible. But again, let's go back to this problem. Whose fault is it? Jadeveon Clowney. He's the guy that was waiting several months. He couldn't just sign with the team and just say, I'm just not going to do the whole practice thing. It's fine. He waited to sign there. So the Browns had to kind of sit on it because they were like, oh yeah, no, it's fine. If you want to wait and we'll just pay you this. No, because if he would have just said no, or if he would have signed, they would have had this problem kind of fixed a little bit more. They would have had more time, but they had to sit there with an unsigned contract. And what that does is that it kind of freezes your moves, right? In terms of, and granted, they kind of gambled a little bit. I mean, Isaiah Thomas, he's awful in the run. He can rush the passer, but if you can't play first and second down, it's kind of really hard to get on the field on third down. As a defensive lineman, but it's again really all Jadeveon Clowney's fault. I mean, if he would have signed earlier or would have just said, "Hey, I'm not doing it," then the Browns would have solved this problem sooner, as in like adding pieces. So they kind of put him in an awkward position to where and when you have an unsigned contract, you don't know how much money you're going to end up needing. Because I'm assuming that, Andrew Berry probably sat there and he's like, I got to save an extra $3 or $4 million because what happens if I hand this to him and he doesn't sign it? I mean, we have to bring him in because outside of him, I mean, they knew what they were getting. Like, they weren't, especially with Chase Winovich, he's an undersized pass rusher because he was originally a linebacker. So, he's not really the best at run defense anyway. He was more of a guy we're going to rotate in, kind of like how they did with Tack McKinley. And now he's got to play all these, pass running. They weren't anticipating Isaiah Thomas and Alex Wright to get as much playing time as they did this year. Now, will it help them develop? Sure. But it shows that those guys are projects.
So before I do want to shout out to Andrew's comment. Run defense needs some solid 250-pound linebackers, which is true. But
Reggie Ragland.
Reggie Ragland's fantastic.
That dude's a semi-truck sitting back.
We're going to be talking about Reggie Ragland. We are going to talk about Reggie Ragland in literally 30 seconds here because we're going to do the Commanders recap. But I do want to say my last thing about Jadeveon Clowney because again he wants to play with Watson. We heard that, we said that. Is 6 games like he said that before the season, right? Is 6 games kind of the thing that wets your whistle with playing with Watson, or is it you trying to imply that you want Joe Woods out? Like you actually want to play with Watson next season, but you just want Joe Woods gone, which by the way, Joe Woods did say, Jake Trotter did report on Twitter. He did say that Joe Woods was like, I hope this isn't the last time I'm talking to you guys when he left his presser. So I who knows? He might get fired immediately. We've seen coaches from other teams this year get fired right after the last game and things like that. Jeff Ragland is a dog. Let's get right into it. Talking about this Commanders dub for the Browns. The Cleveland Browns beat the Washington Commanders. A playoff hopeful Washington Commanders had a 50% chance before they lost to Cleveland. Cleveland went right down into the FedEx Field there for the Washington Commanders and beat them 24-10 while the Commanders unveiled their new mascot, a hog something. I have to look that up exactly what the hog is.
Captain Hog or something.
Captain Hog or something like Hog Touchdown. Yeah. Hog Tutty, I think it was. Hog Tutty.
Yeah, that's right.
And Don Long said, "Are we seeing the air fryer L's for the Squealers?" We're going to get to that. If we're getting some air fryers or some microwavable L's for the Steelers. But I want to talk about this game. What are some of the microwavable L's? What are some of the key things that popped out to you for this game? It was a beautiful game to watch if you were a Cleveland Browns fan. 24-10. Christian, go ahead.
So this is just going to lead right into the KFC Certified Dog of the Week. Can we talk about Grant Delpit?
Yes.
Dudes became a certified KFC registered dog. Okay. Dude had 7 tackles, 2 picks, a tackle for a loss, and a PFF grade of 92.3.
Let's go. Grant. Shout out to Grant Delpit. Shout out to him. Shout out to Jay. He said he's tuning in from North Carolina. Go Browns right now. First and foremost, shout out to Grant Delpit because he's been getting a tough go of it from fans this season, but has shown up recently. Man, oh man, has he shown up. Mac, what have you seen out of Grant Delpit? And then give me some of the things that you were excited about in this game.
So you knew that Grant Delpit, was pretty good in coverage. You saw that a lot last year. But the big problem coming back with the injury, like he lost a little bit of his physicality. But these past couple games, he's fitting ball carriers well in the hole. There was a play in the third quarter where Brian Robertson cut it up. I believe a defensive tackle was out of their gap. Shocker. Wide open hole. And even though it was just like an ankle tackle, this guy wrapped him up in the hole. Grant Delpit has very much improved. I mean, he could always lay a shoulder into people. We watched his hit on Davis Mills as well as who was the running back that he laid out last year, like right at the line of scrimmage. So he can hit, but it was always it was always about wrapping up, and he definitely improved on it this year because you don't always have to get the big hit, right? You just have to make sure the guy doesn't get his first down, and and I'll end it on this: the fact that 2 picks in the game where he's just roaming, I don't see why we don't let Grant Delpit roam a little bit more. Of course, he's playing in the box, but maybe that's our center fielder, right?
I can see.
Is
I can
Grant
see it.
Delpit
I can see it.
the answer?
I can
Because
see it.
that's what the plan was in 2020. He was supposed to be in Sandejo's spot. He was supposed to be the center fielder out there.
Right.
So
I think it's a good transition. I really do. And shout out to him because a lot of people wanted him gone, before the season started, because of the injuries and things like that. They were like, okay, well, this is his last year. This is his prove-it year. So similar in a different situation, but a lot of people were like, oh, we don't really believe that he's the guy. But the person that I want to highlight right now is Disturbed Marine says exactly, kind of like it reminds him of an Ed Reed. Reminds Disturbed Marine of an Ed Reed. If we get an Ed Reed out of Grant Delpit, I mean, I would absolutely love that. I would absolutely love that. John said, give Joe Woods a raise.
Make him head coach, baby. Joe Woods for actually.
First of all, your name's Johnny. Nobody calls you John. Nobody calls you John. Not a single person. Oh, what the government calls you John? Your boss calls you John. Yeah,
listen. We have to give some
you
credit.
Kremlin.
Listen, John. This is for you, John. Are you ready for this? That is for you, John.
Boot him, boot Mac, baby. Let's get it. And this is a perfect time to boot Mac. Listen, Mac, I gotta hear. I gotta get Mac's impression. There's a player on this football team that I was really, really, really impressed with. Deshaun Watson, just to see him throw 3 touchdown passes. He was 9 for 18. He ran the ball 8 times. I think he had 31 yards. I'm so pumped just to see him get that feeling. You even see LeBron James throw some tweets out there and said, 4 is back, the rust is off. A lot of people were really hyped up about it. I like the fact that it looked like he had his confidence back. And you know what I mean? That warmer weather, it was 60 degrees in Washington. So I think that gave him a little juice. And Amari Cooper, what was he? Yeah, Amari Cooper only had like 3 catches for 100 yards. 3, 4, and it's like, that's kind of a little sneak peek. I tweeted this out during the game. It's a sneak peek into 2023's offense. You're going to see bombs like that with a nice little integration of Nick Chubb to keep some of these defenses honest. It's going to be a very difficult offense to stop in 2023. And I'm not just saying that because I'm a Cleveland Browns fan. People are seeing that right now with this last game versus Washington, which I mind all of the listeners once more. This is not some scrub defense. This is they gave up the 4th least amount of yards per game the Washington Commanders did. This is an extremely good defense who creates pressure. Deron Payne is a name that Christian loves. Deron Payne was flying all over the place for the Commanders, and Deshaun Watson was still able to make plays. And there's a couple of Browns fans. I'm not going to name their name, but a couple of Browns fans were clipping, only his touchdowns, saying, "Oh, it wasn't whatever. It wasn't really a touchdown. It was this, that, and the other." Listen, touchdowns are touchdowns. The fact that Browns fans are complaining about touchdowns and how they're thrown is ridiculous. Okay, if you're a Browns fan, you will take your touchdowns where you can get them.
Yep. So before I go into Watson, I want to say something about Amari Cooper. So this crazy season, he has 2 touchdowns. He has a 100-yard game.
Yes.
Is anybody looking at Amari Cooper? The guy's got a bum hip. He's got a straight up bum hip, and he's out there running as fast as he can.
That's a good point.
Throwing guys off of him. Like the work that he puts in. I mean, he's just the wide receiver form of Nick Chubb. It's awesome. I don't know. Maybe it's just because I love Nick Chubb so much, and I love a workhorse.
Yes.
So Amari Cooper, absolutely. The fact for a 5th round pick is crazy. Yes. Now I'll say this about Deshaun Watson: he took his gimmies.
Yeah.
In the second half,
yeah.
And I will never, ever flack a Browns quarterback for taking their gimmies, because almost all these guys since '99 haven't been able to take them gimmies. Like,
yes, exactly.
Seen. I mean, come on, dude. Like, I'll take the gimmies now. I really did not like that, and I mean, we have our group chat. I'm screaming in it half the time.
Yeah.
But I was not happy during the first half, and the problem is he just was asking simply too much of Deshaun Watson. Now, Deshaun Watson is a great athlete and he's a great quarterback.
Yes.
Okay, but he can't do it all. you gotta set up some play action. You gotta run the ball a little bit, and you have to figure out where you're going to attack this defense. And part of it too, with the adjustments, Kevin Stefanski found out that this was cover 2. Just to simplify things, where it's going to be open is behind the corner on the boundary and deep over the middle, and that's where they ended up attacking in the second half. And Deshaun Watson was hitting his throws. So and by the way, that read option for 21 yards. I would like to see that more often.
Yes,
okay?
yes.
I would like to see that more often, please, because when you have Nick Chubb, not only is your play action going to be absolutely unreal because everybody's selling out to get this guy, but the read option is going to be crazy too, because the way how you shut down Nick Chubb is you make sure that you get him in the backfield.
Yes,
because the minute that he breaks that hole, he's taking you for a ride. It's just a matter of when he's going down.
Yeah.
So,
go ahead, Christian. Go ahead. And then I have a question for you. Then I have a question for you.
This is about Amari Cooper. You want to hear a fun stat that's going to make you guys a little giddy?
Go ahead.
Absolutely.
Do you know where he ranks all time, like season-wise for receiving yards? He's 5th.
5th all time for the Browns?
All time, and he ain't done yet.
Wow.
He's 5th. He passed Kellen Winslow for that 5th spot from 2007.
There's an
Kellen Winslow makes me sad.
He's he's 65 yards from passing Jarvis Landry for 4th.
Wow! Already. Now again, that's a mixture.
Just for a season.
First season. That is a mixture between how amazing Amari Cooper is, and that's also a mixture of getting Jacoby Brissett having a fantastic year and Deshaun Watson just throwing darts all over the field, making beautiful passes. I do want to say shout out to Andrew, shout out to Jeff for keeping me updated on the Boston Celtics score. I got a good question from Don Long on Twitter. He says, where does Down with the Browns stand on Kareem Hunt? And Andrew's asking, is Kareem Hunt going to play Sunday? Kareem Hunt just had 2 carries, 0 yards. Jerome Ford had more carries than Kareem Hunt, and they used Jerome Ford a lot. So I kind of want a quick excerpt here before we move on to Pittsburgh Steelers preview. What are you guys thinking about Kareem Hunt? Where is he looking? His usage is going down a little bit. He wanted that contract extension in the beginning of the season. It looks like Jerome Ford is getting some more carries than Kareem Hunt. What's going on? What's going on with Kareem Hunt? What's your outlook?
He was exciting. Of course, at the beginning of the year, we thought we were just going to get the same Kareem Hunt, but he just does not have that same burst to him. It's how many times has he gotten caught in the backfield this year? Of course he's great in the receiving game, but he hasn't made a lot of people miss this year. The way how he's breaking tackles, he's just running through people, but that can only get you so far, when there's 2 people in front of you. So I want to see what Jerome Ford can do, because we're not going to be able to pay Kareem Hunt next year anyway. Yeah. It's as simple as that. I do in reality think there's going to be some team that's just going to pay him strictly on his name and at least pay him $4 million. The Browns aren't going to pay him $4 million.
No.
You know what I mean? So I want to see what Jerome Ford can do. He does have that. It was really cool on film seeing his burst, because that's what we were attracted to, like when we were watching his college film. The minute that he could hit that hole, he would take off. Yes. So why not see what you can do with him? Because obviously you're not going to give Nick Chubb the carries that he needs, but that's another story. I won't get into that. I promise. This is about Jerome Ford.
So,
but I want to see what he can do. So why not have him be running back?
Yeah. So I've got a question, actually. Do you think Jerome Ford's been getting more playing time, like even with special teams, and he's starting to get more carries? Do you think that the emergence of Jerome Ford has been kind of on Kareem Hunt's mental and causing him to get kind of like, okay, this guy's coming from my job, and he's getting overwhelming him a little bit and causing him not to be as efficient? You think that might be some? Maybe?
Yes, I do believe that. But that was started way back in training camp. I mean, the fact that he's sitting out before the season,
Uh,
yeah. So he knew it was coming. The minute that they drafted him and they brought him in, and he's kick returning now. Oh wait, so he's the guy that's standing behind me at every single drill. This is the shiny new toy that they got.
Yeah.
Oh, and he's the fastest running back out of the bunch, so he'd be bringing a different element to this offense. Absolutely. I mean, Kareem Hunt's been hearing footsteps all season.
Don Long, first and foremost, 22-12, awesome, 3 minutes left, awesome, fantastic. Don Long, ask a question, do you think that this is, do you think that Jerome Ford catches as well as Hunt in the backfield?
I don't know. They didn't. He didn't have really much college tape on it.
Right.
So we just don't know.
Yeah.
Could he be that guy that just absolutely drops everything thrown to him in practice? Sure, but we just don't know. So,
what are your opinion? What are your opinions on that, Christian? Really quickly.
I've not seen enough of him receiving to say that yet. I know he was very efficient in college with his time in Cincinnati. I don't know really much on him when he did play at Bama for those, I think it was a year or two that he played at Bama. Right. So I don't really know much about him in the receiving game, but I do know he's an efficient runner. I think he's going to be a great replacement for Hunt next year. And it's going to be sad to see Hunt go, honestly.
Just to kind of – because, I mean, you see what he does in the return game. I mean, he can – he does well in open space. So, why not all those BS screens that you're throwing to Hunt that just don't work?
Yeah.
You might be able to get
Jerome Ford in.
You might be able to get Jerome Ford in. Shout out to Jay.
Yeah.
Jay says that he thinks Jerome Ford can catch. Jay is one of the viewers right now on Twitter. I want to look forward. I want to look forward to the Browns Steelers game. I mean, Jerome Ford may get some more carries. It's Steelers week. Ladies and gentlemen, and the listeners and the audience and the viewers as well. It is Steelers week, officially the last game of the season for your Cleveland Browns. The 8-8 Pittsburgh Steelers are at home and are hosting the Cleveland Browns, who are 7-9 currently. We did beat Pittsburgh in the beginning of the year with Mitch Trubisky. The Pittsburgh Steelers, they started off 2-6. They came out of nowhere. I'm going to talk very respectfully about them because my wife is in the other room. So shout out to the Steelers. But they played very well. And for some reason or another, whatever Mike Tomlin does, he turns water into wine with certain rosters. I thought that they were going to finish last by a landslide, not even close. But it looks like they have an opportunity to have a winning season again with Mike Tomlin. But the Browns can be the spoilers like they are, and they have been to the Pittsburgh Steelers in the past, with not only crushing their playoff hopes, but giving Mike Tomlin their first losing season. I want you guys, Christian, I want you to go first here. What are you expecting out of, facing this offense? Obviously, we didn't have to go against TJ Watt the first time. TJ Watt is a menace. He makes a difference on that defense. Najee Harris is running the ball harder and harder. What are you expecting out of this game?
I expect the Cleveland Browns to walk in to Pittsburgh, and they're going to ruin the Pittsburgh Steelers' playoff chances because Nicholas Jamal Chubb, Myles Garrett, Deshaun Watson, Amari Cooper, they're going to walk in there fired up. You know why? Because they're tired of being little brother, and it comes down to, we
shout out to Jeff. Shout out to Jeff.
Yes, sir. But, it comes down to this. We can't make the playoffs, but, Pittsburgh kind of got a shot at it,
Yeah. Why not ruin it?
And, they are our rivals. And it's kind of like, the sibling rivalry, where where you can't do something, so you're going to ruin it for them.
Yes.
So it's time. For the Browns to go 2-0, finish the season in the division 4-2,
and sweep them for the first time since '88,
and not be bottom of the division.
Wait. Jeff does bring out a good point because I just want to quickly talk on this.
We don't have.
Yeah. Jeff is saying, wait up. Wait, Jeff said for all the listeners on the pod, he said, wait, hold up. We might have a chance to make the playoffs. I think he's talking and alluding to the Pro Football Talk. Just kind of,
and I might have a shot at finding love again, but it doesn't make it, realistic and achievable.
The NFL is in talks of opening up an 8th seed, so there is a path potentially if the Jags beat the Tennessee Titans and the Dolphins lose, and then we beat the Steelers. There's a lot. There's a lot going on.
Hold up! They're talking about adding an 8th seed. Like when did this happen?
Are you serious? You didn't see this is just based off of Pro Football Talk. So Mike Florio, this is his, 3 things that he proposes. And one of it would be bringing in an 8th seed, and the 1st seed wouldn't get their bye. They would have to play the 8th seed, because the problem with the Bills and the, Bengals game is that those, nobody knows whose number that game would have pretty much almost decided. So I forget what the other 2 were, but the 8th seed kind of seems like the most likely. But again, if you're going to do the 8th seed, I hate to tell you, the Browns still ain't making it.
No, it would have looked. It would have looked way better if the Browns beat the Saints, because they still would have had some playoff percentages. And then if the 8th seed showed up, it would have been much better. But
okay. All right, so I'm going to get nauseous because now we're talking about all the bad losses. Okay,
yes,
so we're going to focus on Pittsburgh.
Exactly.
We're going to put
all
of our hopes in this one box.
In this one
box.
We're
going to beat Pittsburgh for the first time twice in a season since 1988, and that's what we're going to do. Okay, and I'm tired because I have to hear it. Okay, so granted, I love my family, I love all my cousins, but there is a portion of my family that lives in Youngstown, Ohio, and anybody from the area knows that Youngstown is Diet Pittsburgh. Okay, and you know what they've been telling me? They said, this team has been revitalized since the bye week. Their defense has just turned the corner. So I'm going to go ahead and read off the quarterbacks that they played. So since the bye week, Andy Dalton, he scored 10 points. Cincinnati Bengals. Oh wait, you lost to Joe Burrow without Jamar Chase, and he hung 346 passing yards on you. So you didn't get too much better out of the bye week. You beat Indianapolis Colts. I'm sorry, Matt Ryan. Who? Marcus Mariota. Oh my God, you beat him by a field goal. That was so bad. You lost to Tyler Huntley. Lost to Huntley. So you beat the Carolina Panthers, Derek Carr, who just got benched, and then you ended up beating Tyler Huntley. So, great job on your just absolute revitalization. The Steelers are the one friend in the friend group that said, "Oh, I changed." No, you're the
same coward you always were.
You know what? I want to do. I agree with commenter Killamane starting off the D4 era. Very right. I think it's so important. To address that. If we can sweep the Steelers, I think that'd be great. That would be just a fantastic way to end the season, especially if after having a great game versus Washington. Najee Harris looked insane though last game. Kenny Pickett was making nasty throws all over the field last game. I'm a little bit concerned playing the Pittsburgh Steelers. I really am. I'm going to be that guy, and it's not because my wife's here, but I'm going to be that guy because again, we didn't play with TJ Watt, and TJ Watt is a problem defensively. He is I'm not exactly sure how well Jack Conklin's going to face up against TJ Watt, but he's a man on a mission. This whole defense, Mika Fitzpatrick is playing crazy. Cam Hayward's playing crazy. Cam Sutton is looking like a really good corner as well. They're playing.
Did you say Alonzo Highsmith yet?
Alex Highsmith.
Alex Highsmith. Why do I keep saying Alonzo?
No, Alex Highsmith. Alex Highsmith.
Yeah.
Alex Highsmith is a very good linebacker. Sent Bud Dupree packing. We could. In fact, honestly, if we beat the Pittsburgh Steelers, if 2 back-to-back Sundays, we beat teams that are going to the playoff and still have a playoff hope. Do you need help, Manny? Christian's holding up a sign that says, "Do you need?" No, she doesn't have a gun. No, there's this nasty little terrible towel thing right here.
Oh, you're touching it!
You're touching it!
You're
with
touching
your
it!
hand. Oh, you're touching it with
There's
your
this
hand. That's
nasty
so
little.
gross.
What?
Oh,
No.
I'm not gonna
that's
say
nasty.
it, but I'm gonna
No.
do.
Oh,
I'm not even gonna say it. I'm gonna do it. But
signed divorce papers, bro.
Yeah. That's
You're
gonna.
on the
That will come out of the trash can immediately once the podcast ends. But I will say we gotta watch out if we can beat 2 back-to-back teams who have fantastic defenses, who both need to beat us to go to the playoffs. It means a lot. And if Deshaun Watson shows progression over these last 3 games, we're going to the offseason fantastic. If we lose to them, then we get last place in the division, easy schedule next year. Not that big of it's a win-win situation really for us, in my opinion. Killerman says, shout out to Alex Highsmith, Carolina native. We never want to lose to Pittsburgh, right? We never want to lose to Pittsburgh. We don't. But at the same time, there is some sort of, bright side if we do happen to lose. It's going to be a bitter taste.
No. I'm tired of the loser mentality.
I'm tired of losing. Yeah.
Stop it. I'm not.
You know where this
we will not
got
accept
us?
defeat
This losing
against
got
a rival.
Matty G suspended. Okay.
I think we suspended the wrong guy.
Wouldn't have been that. Yeah.
Listen, Manny, we're not sticking with this loser mentality. If we're gonna live by this, we're not the same old Browns. We're gonna start off 2023 right. Dang it, we're going 2-0 to finish the season 8-9 where we were last year and start off whatever. It don't matter. I'm tired of losing. We're winning we're going 4-2 the division. And yeah, I'm just fired up. I hate Pittsburgh. I hope they all have explosive diarrhea before the game. And I hope they have wet socks.
I hate Pittsburgh too. I do, and they're actors, but you just can't throw it under the rug. You can't just sweep it under. You know what I mean?
But we got DW4, baby. We got Miles there. You're talking all these big names for Pittsburgh. I'm gonna throw a few of them out for us: Amari Cooper, Deshaun Watson, Nick Chubb, Grant Delpit, Miles Garrett.
Okay, so all right.
We got George Pickens. George Pickens ain't nothing to mess around with.
I'm gonna say this. So you mentioned Nick Chubb. He's got to be on the field for third down and in goal line. Okay, I really do not want to watch 3 goal line plays in a row without Nick Chubb. Okay, do we got to do that again? Do we got to watch that in Pittsburgh? We're like renegade, like with their with their yellow towels. By the way, Styx is an awful band. Yeah, way to choose one of the cheesiest classic rock songs of all time. You couldn't even pick something cool. I mean, at least Cincinnati has "Welcome to the Jungle." At least something pretty hype. Who gets hyped to "Renegade" by Styx? Come sail away with me in the
Cousin
Three
Kissers.
How about
That's right.
no?
Cousin Kissers. Listen, really quickly to end this. This has been a fantastic show. A shout out to Matty G. We love you. We're going to see you soon. I want to get some quick score predictions for this Pittsburgh Steelers-Browns matchup. Do we give Mike Tomlin his first losing season and kick him out of the playoffs? Do we, or do we get the easy schedule in the division next season? Christian, you can go first. Go ahead. I want to hear you, and then Mac, and then I'll go.
Listen, Mike Tomlin's going to get such a defeat this coming Sunday that they're going to have him on a pitchfork. Fans are going to want to get him out of Pittsburgh. That's how bad we're going to beat him. Browns 952.3 to Steelers -52.
Is this what we're gonna do all next season? Is that you're just gonna do scores? Like, no, I love Cleveland Browns daily when they're doing that.
I love
for
Nathan
the score prediction. I'm so torn.
Something about the chain, man. It gets to me.
It's
something about the chain.
I mean, I want to my heart is telling me Kevin Stefanski learned. He knows he can he finally made the adjustments. He's turning around the corner. Like he's finding out what Deshaun Watson likes. He's letting him use his legs more.
Yes. Throw your score predictions in the chat, by the way, guys.
But you got Jadeveon Clowney calling people out. You got all this drama coming up. And you're going into Pittsburgh. You're gonna hear that stupid Renegade song,
yes,
and they're all gonna get fired up because they're they love partying at Tequila Cowboy on the South Side. Downtown. Okay, everybody's gonna be like it's gonna be an absolute like madhouse of an atmosphere, and the Browns got to be ready to play, man, because the Steelers are playing for their lives because they're all sitting there. I mean, those guys will die for Mike Tomlin. I mean, I think he's safe to say, I think right now in the league, I think he's right below Belichick in terms of like best coaches, in terms of like legacies of like all time. It's, for what he's taking and churning into is extremely impressive. And oh man. Okay, so I'll say this. The Browns will win, but it's going to be on like some honestly, I think it's going to be a Deshaun Watson game-winning drive. I think they squeak it out somehow, some way. I would say what? 24-21 Browns.
24, you said 24-21?
24-21 Browns. And by the way, everybody in the comments, make sure drop your score predictions. If you are exactly right, we will send you merch. It does not work if you just guess, oh, I was kind of right. No, we don't do that.
It's got to be right. It's got to be right.
We ain't soft like that.
And winner too. And winner too. And winner as well. And winner as well. So I do want to say, this is going to be a tough game because Pittsburgh has playoff implications, right? It's going to be a tough game. The defense is going to come out to play. I think that it will be low scoring. However, I do think that the Browns might be able to squeak this one out because of the way Deshaun Watson is playing and the confidence. You see it slowly building as we're getting toward the end of the season here, and he's turning into somebody that I mean we're excited to get him for the reasons that we saw last week in Washington. I believe we're going to see that throughout the game. The weather isn't going to be horrible at Kirschner, so the sun's going to be up. ESPN has a 54% chance of Pittsburgh winning. If we can beat Pittsburgh while they need to win and they're at home, man, the Browns are going into 2023 and opening it up very, very well. So I honestly, I have the Browns winning. It's going to be 17-13 final. I have the Browns winning.
Okay. I dig it.
Absolutely. Thank you guys so much. This is an awesome show. Happy New Year, everyone. This is our first show of the new year. 2023 is our year. It's always next year. We didn't even talk about that. It's our first new show of the new year. Happy 2023. Make sure you're hitting your goals, drinking water. What are you
and you know what? And if you're not, and you're like me, and you're still staying that degenerate person, we still love you. Thank you for tuning in.
We still love you anyway.
Yeah.
We still love you anyway.
Can I say something funny?
Go ahead. Go ahead, Christian. Go ahead.
It's 2023. My pee still smells like energy drinks and freedom.
Energy drinks.
Go Browns!
Go Browns. Go Browns. Go Celtics.
You know what, Johnny? That's actually the first good comment you've left on our show. Thank you.
Facts.
I'm gonna boot John. Go Browns.
No.
Go Browns.
Go
No,
Browns.
you're not. You don't ever say it to John again, okay? But let's get this all in sync, boys. Let's get a Go Browns all together. You ready? 3, 2, 1.
Go
Go
Browns.
Browns.
Go Browns.
You were late, man. Gosh.
Pittsburgh sucks! Pittsburgh sucks! Pittsburgh sucks! Pittsburgh sucks!